We are crotchety old men.
And a woman.
We are crotchety old men.
And a woman.
I am crotchety. She is crotchety. We are crotchety old men.
And a woman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our first ever Thanksgiving episode of We Are Crotchety Old Men, the podcast that is for you, about you, and hopefully with you. So today, Abigail and I are just going to talk about Thanksgiving. But before we get into getting into the big dinner, we have a couple of emails that came through.
Okay, well, first of all, I had to be grumpy and tell you what I had to do this past week. I had to go on a business trip to New Jersey, and one of my colleagues who sat in the front seat, who I knew would be a problem, was such a back seat driver, he drove me crazy.
How do you drive you crazy?
He would say, "Whoa." He would say, 5 miles to the exit, get over, get over. And we went all over the state from Northern Virginia and then back home, and it was almost 700 miles. So that pretty much wore me out.
So you're kind of tired today, kind of crotchety, which is perfectly acceptable. And you hopefully you'll stay awake for this episode. But yeah, so you drove from Northern Virginia to North Jersey and back. How many days were you driving around?
3 days.
3 days, all driving, all different locations.
Actually, 4. We left on Sunday.
Oh, okay. Okay. So everyone, if Abigail gets a little feisty with me and hits me, you know why. So I better be on my best behavior. So what were the emails that we had? I didn't get a chance to read them.
Well, I guess the first thing I'll say is, we're going to see your grandma or your mom, right? Is it your
Yeah,
mom?
my mom.
Your mom, back in New Jersey. So for Thanksgiving, I got to drive right back there, but that's okay. But let's get to the emails. We had one writer write back, and she attached a bunch of articles, and they were all about the panda bears. She said our tribute up to the panda bears last week was so nice, and she really is going to miss the pandas, and we thought that was very thoughtful of her.
No, that was true. So yeah, that was a good one. And I know I hold on. I'm reading while you actually are showing me the email because it was from Grandma Edna, and Grandma Edna. Hold on, I want to read this. Is very upset about Nabisco canceling or no longer having her chocolate wafers for what she calls her world's famous Grandma Edna chocolate log cake. So that's kind of disappointing. So sorry, Grandma Edna. I don't know if there's anything what chocolate cake is, but I know what chocolate cake is chocolate log cake. But anyway, sorry. And, if we hear anything, we'll so bad Nabisco, bad.
Have you ever had the waffle that goes over your coffee that has caramel in it, and when it warms up, you eat the cookie, and it's delicious?
No, but I've seen espresso made with a chocolate bar where they pour the chocolate on the chocolate bar, it melts and goes right into the coffee cup.
Okay, my idea is 1,000 times better, and if I think of the name, I will let you know.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Okay, so then we had an anonymous email,
Ooh, I like those.
and he stated, when it comes to the news of the week, and actually for the month, it just seems like Biden is more concerned than, quote, fentanyl, the border, the prices going up, and we could go on, but of course, the war in Israel. His it's just catastrophic how he is behaving.
But we got more pandas coming back. That's all that matters. We got pandas and fentanyl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So all right, so we had our three, but we also not included in those emails was actually our status of our polls that we've been trying to do. So we've been collecting data via our email. We are crotchetyoldmen at gmail.com. We are crotchetyoldmen at gmail.com. And we had a couple through X / Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to touch the Eli Musk controversy on that this episode. But we had one person was asking for the a joke of the day, so that could be fun. We have another person who was talking about, of course, more Abigail. Must be one of your fans.
Hmm.
More Abigail talking.
It could have been me that actually entered that.
That would have been funny. That would have been funny. And then we got. Here's this was the third one. It was our take on the news. So I guess it's what our opinion would be. So I like those three. Hopefully people will keep them coming. Like we just had our other person, the anonymous, kind of like the very first whistleblower who was anonymous, and we never found out who. Oh, sorry. There we go. That's our take on the news for that. But we know about the pandas, so we are good for that. So let's get into the meat of Turkey Day. Hopefully, you kind of like the sound effects of the turkeys starting off.
I did.
So I'm going to ask you some questions, Abigail,
Hmm.
and I want to know about your past, your present, possibly your future. Um, Tell me about some of your best, worst, or just miscellaneous memories about Thanksgiving.
I mean, overall, it was a positive experience. My mother died when I was young, and I don't have much memories of that. But I do have many photographs of, a full loaded table with a nice turkey in the middle, and my father grinning ear to ear, and that's very special to me. But the most memorable one kind of went south. Essentially, my sister had just come back home to the region, and she happened to run into her old high school boyfriend. And apparently, they fell in love so quickly, they got engaged within a week.
Oh, wow.
So she managed to tell my other sister that, they got engaged, and Thanksgiving was coming up within a few days. And my sister, who got engaged, said she wanted to announce it at Thanksgiving. And my other sister was like, "Don't you dare. That's going to be awful." Well, Arden, needless to say, they told him. And he essentially started cracking beers open. And then while he's cooking, then I think he went to the hard stuff. But he essentially almost passed out on the couch when the gravy was ready to be made.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that was panic time. So my other sister, to her great credit, went into the kitchen and whipped up that gravy, and it tasted fantastic. My
So-
dad, my dad did make it to the table, but his head was almost dropping into his plate. So that, Arnon, is my most memorable Thanksgivings.
wow. Okay. That's that's impressive. That's a mine were pretty very tame compared to that. The only thing like recent, I mean, ours are pretty much traditional. It's always the same. But there's been some years way back when where my brother and his family had kids that were young. We used to do the Thanksgiving turkey trot. And most of the so I would drive over and wake up at the crack of dawn, and we'd head out to Bethesda, Maryland. And while the kids and my brother's wife would run the 5K, I was usually walking the 2.5K. I did the little trot, but it was great. We did that for years. Then we would then have dinner. I'm sorry, we would do a Thanksgiving, almost like a brunch with his mother-in-law. Then we all got in the car and drove to my mom. And it was a very long day. And then sometimes we would drive back or we'd stay there. And yeah, so our it's been kind of the same ever since then. But more questions for you. Food.
Yes, the food.
Okay. Likes, don't likes, things you've never tried. Is it usually the same every year? What's your take? I mean, I have friends who don't like turkey at all, so they're going with ham.
Well, one thing is, I really don't try to overstuff myself, but I always love the rolls with a lot of butter.
Nice. Any particular brand?
Mm, no.
Okay.
And the mashed potatoes, my sister always made them from scratch, and they were always good. Now gravy, not a fan of gravy.
Really? Oh wow.
And when it comes to the turkey, I dissent, and I'm a dark meat eater.
Okay. Okay. So
Is there anyone in your family that eats dark meat?
not really. My brother and I, we would always have to eat one of the legs each, just because my mom wouldn't let us throw them away. And I don't think any of us eat the thighs at all.
I love that part of the turkey.
And my mom always, it's so funny. She always complains about eating the wings, but she loves eating the wings. Like it's pretty funny.
Now, I can tell you a couple things I can't stand,
Okay.
and that is the classic green bowl casserole.
Oh, the one from the Campbell soup mix.
Yes, that has mushrooms in it, and as you know, I do not like mushrooms.
I also don't like mushrooms. And it used to have the onion, the crisp onions on top of it. My mother serves that. We haven't had it in a couple years because I think only my brother and my mom love that. I don't know why. I've always found it gross.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you actually have cranberry on Thanksgiving?
We we have the cranberry sauce out of a can that literally makes that slurping sound. And my mom always like she'll take the can and dump it in the bowl right then and there. So it's like and it plops down and we love it. It's like we don't it's not even the one with cranberries in it. I just think it's absolutely fun. But that reminds me of the casserole. So if you had liked gravy, I was going to ask you, like, do you like the giblets in the gravy or no giblets, but you don't like gravy at all?
Absolutely no giblets. Now, I will eat the stuffing.
Okay.
Especially my dad used to add meat into it, and that was really good.
Okay.
But as I said, the green bean casserole is off my list.
So I'm actually going to try making this stuffing I made last year, but my mom has made the same traditional stuffing for 50 plus years. So she's going with that as well. So there's two different kinds. But like, oh, another thing we used to do, we used to fight. My mom would take the bag of giblets that so many people accidentally cook in the turkey because they don't realize there's a bag of, and that's like the heart, the kidney, the liver, things like that. She cooks the neck and peels the neck, which is actually dark meat. So that's in there. But we
Okay, sidebar. I
so
don't eat that dark meat.
oh, okay. So there was a very bad joke in there that I will not say. But then there was the uh with the livers. My mom would fry them up with seasoned salt, the liver and the heart, and we would like fight over them as kids. We love that. I hate liver, but we would eat that. But now she just tears that apart, and that goes in the gravy as well. Uh,
Okay.
but last thing, my sister makes the most delicious potatoes, but they're so bad for you. I think it's like for every potato she uses a stick of butter. So it's basically butter with potatoes and a lot of garlic. Good quality stuff.
Well, Wayne, I know the future forecast is a ways, but there may be a possibility that we're going to run into snow. So I don't really have any travel nightmares, considering that, I always ate at my dad's house, and my sister up in West Virginia. Um, I've never ran into bad weather. How about you, Arden?
Never ran into bad weather, but we ran into a truck that caught on fire and was stuck under an overpass.
That is awful.
Now it's worse. Okay, so picture this. We're in a minivan. I'm driving, my brother's in the side, his wife and three kids are in the back seat for hours. I listened to the entire movie of Mulan. I've never seen Mulan, but they played it again. So I've listened to Mulan twice on that drive home. It took us, I think, 8 hours just to get out of New Jersey. it was awful. We finally got to we got off at a rest stop, peed like 9 times. It was worst travel nightmare ever for us.
I'm sorry to hear that. That is awful. I'll say that again.
So, do you have any other like traditions or anything that you guys used to do, or anything crazy? Is there any like movie or
I
anything that
mean,
you'd watch?
sometimes we used arts and crafts and, craft paper, and we would make turkey hats.
Oh, that's fun.
And I have a couple pictures of that Thanksgiving.
Did you ever have like in school like a Thanksgiving pageant or anything?
I don't remember.
I think I don't know if we did either, but I like no, you didn't dress up as a pilgrim or an Indian or anything like that.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about. Did you ever see the movie Adam's Family, where the kids go to camp,
a long time ago.
where Pugsley comes out? Hi, I'm a turkey. Kill me. It's one of the funniest. It's a great line, and then he walks off stage. He had one line. But that reminds me of like there's really no good Thanksgiving movies or TV shows outside of like the Peanuts one where Charlie Brown has to make uh Thanksgiving and Peppermint Patty just bitches and moans. Where's the turkey? Where's the corn? I hated that girl for that. I'm gonna punch. I'm the
I
poor
mean,
guy.
I'm not. I don't think I know of another movie or show about Thanksgiving.
There's very few. I remember as a kid, these were not like Thanksgiving movies, but they always seemed to be on Thanksgiving night. And it was the original King Kong from the 30s, and The Wizard of Oz used to always be on around that same time. I don't know if they still do it, but they're real. There's not that many. I mean, like everything usually goes immediately to Christmas, and I know you're ready for that Hallmark Channel. I know.
I am, and that's my favorite part of Thanksgiving too. It's the kickoff to Christmas.
Right. Now, our Hallmark, is it already? I saw like the Sirius XM is playing Christmas music already. Is Hallmark playing their Christmas movies?
Yes, they are. I've got the TV going upstairs, so when we go back up, I can basically start watching a movie in the middle of it and figure out the whole plot.
Yeah, nice. Now, one of the couple things, like one of the weird traditions I had, and this is me personally. So, when my mom was a little more spry and younger, she and my brother's family, they would go to New York City. And they would go to like the M&M store and things like that. And in the meantime, I'm sitting there by myself in my mom's house. So I would go out, I would rake the leaves. Like that was my tradition. I would go and actually rake leaves all day. It was kind of fun.
Well, I have a modern tradition for me, and that is I always have worked the day after Thanksgiving on that Friday. I've done that for 26 years. But because my love, Arden, is going to see his mom for Thanksgiving, I'm going to. So I actually took Friday off.
Nice. And I will be dragging her, kicking and screaming to see my mom, which should be kind of fun. Now, here's another question for you. In all like the TV movies when it comes to like Thanksgiving or kind of any holiday, they always bring the turkey uncut to the table. And usually the father gets there with his knife and is able to cut the most perfect pieces of turkey. Have you ever been able to see that or do that?
Okay, I'm pretty sure my dad did it a few times, but not all the time. But we always took a picture of the full turkey on the table before anything happened. So, it's kept the, I, I get that's one thing I regret that I didn't watch him cut a turkey or chicken while he was alive. Because I take that for granted now. For turkeys, though, my
Sorry, there was a turkey
my
got loose in there.
my sister, she literally takes a jigsaw hammer. I'm sorry, knife,
Jigsaw.
a jigsaw knife to it, and just butchers it, and it's hysterical to watch.
My brother and I are the same way. I even got my mom for Christmas a few years ago a whole bunch of knives, and so she's got these great knives. Everything's good, and my mom is my brother and I are watching videos on how to carve a turkey, and it doesn't matter. In the end, we're like ripping it off and tearing it apart. It doesn't matter. We try. We're awful.
Okay, let's go into another tradition, and that, of course, is Thanksgiving football.
Football. Oh, Wildcats. Wildcats, good movie. I
And
think I
I,
saw that on Thanksgiving.
and I think everyone knows that the mandatory teams are the Cowboys against someone and the Detroit Lions.
They are, but do you know how this all began?
No, I do not.
Okay, so the very, very first organized football game was actually in the year 1869, believe it or not. Very famous Rutgers, the College of Rutgers, which I have another trivia answer for you for Rutgers, and Princeton played in the very first. 2 weeks later, and I have to actually read to make sure I got this correct, the Young American Cricket Club played the Germantown Cricket Club on Thanksgiving. And that was the very first Thanksgiving football game. Now, think about that. So, cricket was played in the 1860s. And have you ever even seen or heard of a cricket match in the US now?
Absolutely not.
So, that didn't work. But then in the year 1920, the NFL was created. And from the start, it actually had games played on Thanksgiving. In fact, for the first few years, it was mandatory that all teams played on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah. And when I was looking at the team names, none of them are from today. So that was kind of surprising. I mean, they all have like funny names and silly names, but none of them are around today. But then the Detroit Lions were the first, as you said, and that was in the year 1934. Then when the merger was happening between the AFL and the NFL, they wanted to have a second game. Kind of makes sense, right? So in 1966, they asked around the league, and the only team that volunteered was the Dallas Cowboys.
America's
And
team.
that's probably why they became America's
Ugh,
team.
I can't stand that. But this year, of course, the Commanders are playing with them, and it's going to basically be a slaughter. But you know what? On any given Thursday, we never know.
We never know. Now, here's the other thing. So, since 2006, they've added a third game. But in the third game, there's no tradition. Here's my question to you. What teams would you want? Like, should there be the Lions, the Cowboys, and another team should host? Maybe an AFC team?
No, I do not. I think 2 games is perfect for Thanksgiving.
Oh, so you would actually like to get rid of the other game?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow, there's a one. Now, in my hometown, we would play, and that's in Teaneck, New Jersey. We played Hackensack, and that was the tradition. So Teaneck played Hackensack every year. We would either Teaneck would travel to Hackensack or vice versa, and that was always played. And then there was a big party afterwards. It was kind of cool. Um, but we wanted to. Oh, back to that trivia question with Rutgers. Did you know Rutgers is the only it's the only university that is not the official state university that doesn't have their state name in it? For example, like Florida State or Georgia in Virginia, it's Virginia. So the Rutgers, it should be New Jersey University or New Jersey State as the official one, but nope, it's Rutgers.
I would tell you that was interesting, but it wasn't.
Sorry. Just trying to give some miscellaneous information here. So what other things, let's see, Thanksgiving. So you're traveling up to see your my mom. That would be pretty funny. I don't even know what I'm doing. Um, what other so now are you revving up for Christmas now or do you wait a while?
You better believe it. I've got my tree up. Most of my decorations are out. I do need to put ornaments on it. And I'm actually going to put a second tree in my basement. I love Christmas. And I'm not ashamed to say, I leave everything up until February 1st.
Well, I used to be a purist. I would wait till Thanksgiving. I would always used to do my apartments and houses at the same time after
Mhm.
Thanksgiving. Not anymore. Too much stuff. Uh-oh, they're coming for us again. So I guess it's time we got to go because unlike a pilgrim, I don't have one of those crazy guns. We are crotchety old man
And a woman.
and a turkey. We are crotchety old man.
And a woman.
I am crotchety. She is crotchety. We are crotchety old man.
And a woman that wants to thank everybody for listening to our show. And both of us want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, everyone.